Hello all and welcome back to another wonderful video. Today we're back with Species in Depth, and of course I'm joined by my co-host Lily. Lily, why don't you say hi or something? Say something.
Hi.
So,
Okay, so we're going to be actually covering my allies. They are
yes,
called the Pastelpengus.
this is an ally to the Giblins. So that's going to be interesting. We're going to look at their lore, and I do want to say up front, there is quite a bit of lore here. There is at least 2 pages.
Finally, a species with lore.
I would say this is like 2 or 3 pages worth of lore and history or legend or whatever. They have some Pingu facts as well. There's some facts here as well, so we're gonna go over that, and we're gonna go over the design. We're gonna talk about what the species is and everything like that, and then we'll get our opinions here and there as well. So I do want to start off by saying that the species was supposedly founded in August of 14th, 2019. They put into parentheses that this is the time that Oliver's clarifications. This time with Oliver's clarifications. I don't know what that means, but there you go.
Oh,
That's when
my
it was
friend
created,
Oliver.
so. Oh, okay.
But also another fact is the species was made and dedicated to one of Oliver's friends that loved penguins in pastel colors, who passed away from brain tumor last July 29th, 2019, in return for introducing Oliver to the game. So this is a dedication species.
Yes, this is a dedication
And I
species.
think that is...
Well, with everyone, keep in mind that this is a dedication species as we go through everything. Because who knows? That might come back. But they're mammals, but they still lay eggs, sort of like platypus. I don't know if they actually do or not. I don't know anything about platypuses, but that's besides the point. They are the aquatic versions of these are mammals that give birth like common mammals would, which I find interesting. And something I do want to point out because it's funny, but their poop is actually made of candy. Yeah, I think that's funny. I do think that's a little bit of funny. That's definitely funny. But the Pastelpengus, they are not necessarily penguins. They're actually more related to griffins and hippogriffs and stuff like that. They're only called Pastelpenguins because of their colors and their striking resemblance to penguins. So not necessarily penguins, they're closer to griffins, hippogriffs, that sort of thing. But yes, that is what they're going for with their designs and everything.
I think the mating ritual is pretty cool. I like the mating ritual stuff. I love when they actually have a hint or whatever for the mating ritual for the species. It actually gives you more in depth to the species in itself.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I like that. It's just another one of those things where it's pretty small. It's pretty small to include in your lore and your facts about your species and everything like that, but you can just throw in something small like that and it goes a long way because it's like, oh, this is a really fleshed out thing, and something tiny like that makes it seem a little bit more fleshed out than it already was or already is. So I like seeing small things like that too. It's not just about the big fantastical lore and history, it's also about those tiny little things because again, this is a species. There's rules and everything else that goes into it. Even the small thing about how they lay eggs but the aquatic ones don't. That is such a small thing, but I love that because it just fits. It makes sense. It's a species.
Then there's the Pastelpengus have high-pitched noises. They make squeaky noises when they're happy. Oh, that is so adorable.
And that
is so
I bet adorable. That would be so adorable to hear. I wonder if it's similar to how penguins sound. I don't actually know what penguins sound like. But
the Pastelpengus fur smells like candies, fruits, and even cotton candy, depending on the Pastelpengus color palette. They smother others in their own chosen scents, in affections, and love. That is adorable.
It's
okay,
so adorable.
So
we're doing a very adorable, cute species this time. It's making me happy. I'm kind of smiling here versus before I was frowning and upset.
Whereas looks at every other species that we kind of covered that literally didn't have any lore, and I'm just over here like.
At least there's information about the species and not just lore, because that's another thing too. Okay, you have to have the lore side, you have to have the facts side, and you have to have the design side. Some of them just focus all into one. This one seems like it's trying to focus on multiple here. We got the facts and we got quite a bit of lore actually. So Let's go ahead and start with the lore. The lore is actually separated from two categories of lore and legend. I'm not sure why. I imagine legend is more of their history or whatever, but let's start with their lore, and I'll read out a paragraph. She will read out a paragraph, and we'll kind of go back and forth talking about our thoughts per paragraph. So,
All right.
years ago, a stork was flying carrying 10 eggs. Okay, that the typo there messed me up. I'm sorry. These eggs accidentally fell from the stork's delivery blanket and hit a rainbow spectrum. The eggs were then covered by beautiful, cute, light colors. The stork was very fast enough to catch all the eggs in time before hitting the ground, thus delivering it to the nursery. The eggs hatched into 10 most. God, I feel like I can't read. The eggs hatched into 10 most adorable, never seen species before. Pony experts argued if they were griffins, hippogriffs. However, later came out that they were a newly species that weren't 100% related to griffins nor hippogriffs. They were different species, and experts then gave the new discovered species the Pastelpengus name, originated from pastel light colors, colorful feathers, and striking looks they possessed.
But thing is, though, is this set into a human world? Is this set into the pony world? That's what I want to know.
Well,
because that's what it feels like. It makes you question what universe.
It does. Right off the bat, I'm kind of questioning like what universe this is. But you know, they said pony experts and stuff like that, so I was like, okay, yeah, that has to be that universe. But it's really interesting. I kind of like the stork aspect of it, which it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense because it seems to contradict how because they have like actual birth. So where did these specific 10 eggs come from? Where did those 10 eggs come from? That's my question. Like, what was the deal with these 10 eggs? Because obviously these things are born naturally. So did this stork just steal 10 eggs?
I think the stork stole 10 eggs. I think the stork stole 10 eggs.
Did he steal them? Did he take them for research? What's going on? I don't know.
All right, let me read. When a pastelpengus dies, they become dry, then crumbly before breaking into seeds that were discarded by their stomach from eating fruit. When this happens, the pastelpengus will then bury the seeds and nurture it until it grows into a beautiful tree. That's pretty interesting because the people in reality actually use their ashes to be buried with a tree and grow back.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
That's pretty interesting.
I like that. I like that too because it's like with this specific lore, you can have those trees like and still be close to your loved ones, sort of, and it almost removes the need for like graves and stuff like that because you could just visit a forest, which is technically their version of a graveyard at that point because you know all these trees come from after they've died. So that's interesting. I like that.
This tree will then be given fruit offerings every day by the pastelpengus of humans. So humans exist in this universe too.
Humans do exist, okay.
Okay, so wait a minute.
Wait, hang on. It's comparing it because it says if humans give flowers to the dead, Pastelpengus gives fruits to theirs. So I guess it's comparing it. So it's still unclear. It's still unclear, but I think it's more of them comparing it.
Yeah. Okay. I was about to say when a pastelpengus bleeds, their pastel-colored bodies become gray because their pastel-colored blood would then start pouring out of their body. That blood is what gives them their pastel colors from their hair, feathers, tail, and even horns. So that's really interesting because it gives me such Rainbow Factory vibes.
It gives me Rainbow Factory vibes, but it also kind of reminds me of the Giplins a little bit because their blood is what makes them glow, and they have special blood.
That is true.
They have special blood too that kind of does its own thing, and it actually affects
how
they look.
So Giplins mixed with Rainbow Factory.
When it comes to that part of their biology, I guess so. That's pretty interesting. Though,
it's your turn.
That's pretty interesting. All right, so Pastelpengus are ponies who look well like penguins, except pastel colored. They're very curious about all things and would oftentimes honk in the cutest way. So that feels like
Fucking cute.
they honk. Do they honk or do they beep or whatever it was that we read in the Pingu facts? What did we read over here?
I don't know, but I don't care. But in all honesty, that is just the cutest thing to communicate. Help me.
Yeah, they make squeaky noises when they're happy, but normally they just I guess they also just make random honking noises, which is
Well,
interesting. I don't know if that
just
was, I don't know if that was like a mistake or what that was, but it's fine. It's cute nonetheless.
all right.
That could just be how they communicate or whatever. But anyway, moving on. They love to smother others in delicious or sweet scents produced by special types of feathers. That was in the Pingu facts that we read earlier. Most of the time, you find them in groups of 3 to 5 near water areas, water sources. They love to cuddle together in winter, which I find interesting.
That's
because
adorable.
I find that interesting because penguins have a natural like warmth. Like a penguin in the Arctic is actually pretty warm. They're like as warm as you and I might be right now, which is interesting. So this next thing is interesting because it goes back to humans, but it says years ago.
Okay. Okay, so it really does, because in the old My Little Pony series that everybody seems to just drop and forget, they actually did have humans.
Yeah,
So I'm glad they actually referenced the humans of the
that
old
might-
My Little Pony thing.
That might be the
Thank
thing.
you!
That might be the thing. It might be set in that universe versus current gen's universe, or even just within Ponytown itself. But years ago, when humans used to exist in the fantasy pony realm, reference to the My Little Pony humans, and it's just saying what you said essentially. Humans use the droppings of Pastelpenguins as candy, so basically their droppings are rainbow candies. That's talking about how their poop is candy. We mentioned that a minute ago as well, which is kind of funny. They're quite expensive because Pastelpenguins are quite rare. They were mostly driven to extinction by humans thousands of years ago because they believed that Pastelpenguins had the best pony and bird type meat served for royalty. So humans were eating these things. Oh my god. Oh no. Not my poor penguin babies.
No, not those penguin babies. Protect the penguin babies.
Protect the penguin babies. But anyway, now pony reports of sightings of the rare Pastelpenguins are now rising. Could the species be reproducing again? Probably so.
That is just
that
yes.
last tagline is unnecessary, but it's kind of funny.
I mean, but that's hilarious. Just like, yes, maybe. Alright, Pastelpengus have special type of unique feathers that produce sweet and delicious scents depending on their feather color palette, as stated in the facts.
Mm-hmm.
When a pony or a species pony is going through a negative emotion, this is just for Ponytown,
Mm-hmm.
The Pastelpengu will smother that pony or a species pony in their scent to cheer them up. That's just adorable.
They're like walking air
Kind of
fresheners.
reminds me of that one. It kind of reminds me of that one SCP, 999. It's just
is
this
that orange?
huge.
Is that the orange slime thing or whatever it is?
Yes.
Yeah. I
That's
only know.
basically what they are.
I only know a little bit of SCP, but that was one of them that I knew about. It does remind me of that.
But yeah, it just basically, you just hug it and you are the happiest of happy. It is one of the sweetest babies.
It's so pure, so pure.
Like, and that's what these remind me of. Their favorite food are fruits. They produce different flavored candy droppings depending on the fruit they ate. Such as eating apple turns the droppings into apple candy flavor. Oh.
I still think that I think they've said this candy droppings thing like 5 times now. I feel like they're oversaying it at this point.
I think they're trying to oversell this shit candy.
I think they are. That's what it kind of looks like because they've reiterated it like 4 times now. But anyway, go ahead and continue.
Okay. Even though that it's still a mystery, some say that when a Pastelpengu ate a rainbow mango, it will produce a candy dropping that it's so effective that it can heal you from cancer in an instant.
So that was that's probably part of the dedication half of it, I would imagine.
When suffering from diarrhea, oh poor babies. They will drop ice cream cakes or cupcakes depending on their stomach pain level. Ooh, that feels bad. I feel bad for them.
Yeah, that sounds horrible.
Poor babies.
That sounds awful.
The most severe one drops cakes, while the most light one drops ice cream. Don't worry, these are edible. Because of this, the other species began giving the Pastelpengus the nickname dessert makers or small dessert factories. No!
That's so hilarious. I love it. And this again is one of those small things that go a long way, because that makes me feel like, this is a real world now. Because in our world, we would do the same thing. We would make fun of them and call them things like dessert makers or small dessert factories or whatever. It's the same thing. It feels so real to me. That's such a natural thing to it. Like, if that's what's going on with your biology, and that's literally what we would do if we did the same thing. If we pooped out candy and cakes and stuff, that we would literally do the same thing, make fun of it and call them dessert makers and stuff. I just love that. It's so good.
Poor babies, though.
Yeah. So if you ever go to a forest or something and see a little plate with a cake on it, don't eat it.
Even though it's very edible and apparently very delicious, just don't.
Just don't eat it. I'm just imagining like a perfectly normal cake just sitting in the middle of a forest now. Wait, also, I do want to say this one last thing about that paragraph. These cakes and cupcakes, is that a full cake, like a full cake, or is it like a slice of cake?
Yes.
Because it just says cake.
A full cake, apparently.
Yeah, it just says cake, so I imagine the full cake. But anyway, just like wolves, Pastelpenguins have alphas and normal Pastelpenguins. See, I want to mention this real quick. It is actually just a rumor that wolves have alphas. That's not really a thing. That's just a rumor. So they kind of fell for that rumor here, but that doesn't, negate what they're saying here. But I just wanted to point that out. But just,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they don't actually have alphas. That's actually a rumor.
I mean, it could still work for fantasies. I mean, it still works.
Yeah. But just like wolves, Pastelpenguins have alphas and normal Pastelpenguins. The alphas keep an eye on the group and warns others of danger when danger is near. Normal are the members. What?
Okay.
Okay, wait. Hang on.
They're not. They're not. Their first language is not English. So
yeah, that confused the crap out of me. I didn't know if that was supposed to be a period or a comma, but then the next thing was capitalized. So I was like, okay, that's a different sentence, but that doesn't make sense as a sentence. I don't know. I'm sorry. that got me messed up there. But moving on, Pastelpengus don't actually attack others. Instead, they form this circle formation as a sign of defensive manner to scare off predators. This formation usually goes to the alphas and the stronger normal Pastelpengus forming the circle, and the frail and younger Pastelpengus stay inside the middle of the circle. That actually fits up.
That is adorable.
That fits up more to like what wolves do, because what wolves will do is when they travel in packs, they will put their weaker ones at the very front of the pack. That and the leader of the pack, they will be at the very end of the pack. That way the leader can make sure every single member of the pack gets where they need to go. And if something happens to the weaker ones, they can act as quickly as possible. So that fits more with wolves than the other part did. Which is interesting, because that, again, makes it feel more real. It feels real because that's kind of what animals do in reality now anyway. It just makes it feel so real. And I like that.
All right. When danger is near the formation, they emit this beak hammering that are high-pitched, sometimes hissing, in hopes of scaring off the danger.
I'm sorry, but I can't. Every time, like the thought of that sound just makes it sound like it would just be so cute and funny more than it would be scary.
Yeah. When you see two Pastelpengu hitting each other with horns, it's a sign of friendship in the species. Looks at our horns. Every other species that use hitting horns. That's a sign of fighting.
Yeah.
Here, it's a sign of peace.
That's another thing too. Is some of the other species that we've covered together has had horns. A lot of species have horns. Not all of them really do anything with the horns. Most of them are like, oh, they have horns. This one found a way to be like, hey, they have horns because this, or
I mean,
they do this
all
because they have horns.
I mean, for Giplins, we just use the horns because certain versions of the Giplins use horns as a way to hunt. So
yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, a species isn't just gonna necessarily have something that's just some useless body part or something like that. I mean, just look at reality again, and like, goats, they have horns for a reason. Other creatures that have horns, they have them for a reason. They're usually more for attacking others or defending themselves or something like that. But they have horns for a reason. Every part of your species should have some reason to it, because you're creating another creature, an entity, and your goal as a species is to make us believe that this is a real species that could exist, even if only in this other world. So I
mean,
think,
so
I
far
like
to me, it's fitting. It's fitting right now.
It's fitting. Everything is fitting. This just feels like a real species that I could just run into one day or something. Even though they're not real, I feel like I could run into them.
Okay. Let's see. Pastelpengus are related to griffins, but because of their striking resemblance to penguins, they are called Pastelpengus.
Okay, that was just a reiteration. Oh my god, I read that wrong. I'm so bad at this. A Pastelpengu only sings to the person or pony that they care about so much. It is so rare to hear them sing to the point that is considered good luck or good omen. The species are divided into several different variants. These variants represent the personalities and abilities of the Pastelpengus. And then we get into the second half here of legend.
Which is the legend.
Legend. This is actually...
It's the legend.
This, I think, would be better if one person read through the whole thing. So do you want to read through the whole thing, or do you want to do like half and half?
Half and half. Long ago, there were two music Pastelpengus, born of the same day and on the same night. They were twins. Well, no duh.
Yeah, that much is kind of obvious. Born at the same time.
The two Pastelpengus were named Blueberry Shake and Cupcake. Those are the cutest fucking names!
Yeah, but I do want to point this out. Cupcake probably isn't a very good name for Pastelpengus, because that's literally the name of their shit.
So and that's only when they're constipated.
Yeah. So, in a way, the name is Blueberry Shake and shit.
The two brothers. Oh, they're brothers.
Well, yeah, because they're twins. That's what they said.
But they never said what gender.
Oh, yeah, that's
and then
true. That's true, yeah.
And then they hit you with their brothers.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. I mean, that's a good way for you to discern that they're brothers.
To care for each other, love each other, and protect each other. They were extremely very close to each other. Aw, Cupcake loves to call Blueberry Shake Napoleon.
Because of his French accent.
Yeah, because of his... Even the way his hair matched Napoleon's hair color.
Okay, I do want. Yeah.
Basically, it's set in our universe.
I'm so confused.
I mean,
how do they know about Napoleon? I'm so confused.
Maybe it's a universe where the ponies and humans were together, like they stated.
Yeah, maybe they were together the entire time, and it was a matter of these two twins in particular were around long enough to like learn that or whatever. I don't know. That feels off to me. That part.
One faithful day, however, the kingdom of the species was attacked by human hunters. No!
Yeah, this goes back into what they were saying earlier in the lore, that some of them would be hunted for their apparently delicious meat.
The Pastelpengus were no match against the men with guns, not even in the Rage and the Velociraptor.
Yeah, the Velociraptor penguins.
Pastelpengus can protect the rest, not even the Alpha 2. But suddenly a Pastelpengu showed up. It was music Pastelpengu. It was Blueberry Shake. He held a sword on his beak You mean in his beak. Again, they aren't
Yeah,
English isn't their first thing, so
yeah. There's a lot of
I'll
typos
let
like
that
that.
pass. And began to fight off the humans. Miraculously, Blueberry Shake was able to fend off the humans and save the whole kingdom. Cupcake, on the other hand, just hid in the darkness of the corners because he was too scared to. Oh!
This sounds very familiar for some reason. I don't know why.
The seven alphas thanked the music Pastelpengu and wanted to repay his bravery. At first, Blueberry Shake insisted that to not give him anything in return. However, when the alphas heard this, instead they offered him something more to become the champion of the species.
Okay, I have heard this
Blueberry Shake
before.
couldn't reject this one, so he had to agree to it. Once agreed, the alphas granted him immortality seat and a seat in the kingdom. Your turn.
Okay, I feel like I have heard this before. I don't know if someone in this species just taught me this one day and I kind of forgot about it, but I've read this before. Like not
Really?
I haven't read it in the Discord, but I've heard this story before. I mean, I've definitely read that first half before. Yeah, that's interesting because I didn't think I've really interacted with any Pastelpengus before, but maybe I have. But anyway, the rest of this legend goes on to say the Alphas asked for his name, and his name he said, "My name is Napoleon." Since then, he was given a new identity and a new name and life as champion. However, his twin brother Cupcake watched him in the distance, filled with jealousy. Cupcake fled the kingdom and stumbled upon a castle. It was a school for forbidden arts. He joined that school. And the headmaster of the school saw a prophecy that included Cupcake in. Because of this, the headmaster asked him to swear to swear and sacrifice his life to the school in exchange. He'll teach him everything, even dark magic, and all land, which to Cupcake agreed to be. Oh my god. Which to Cupcake.
Agreed on.
Yeah, to which Cupcake agreed on and sacrificed his life to the school, never leaving it. He was then dubbed the Morning Star in the school. The black magic helped Cupcake overcome countless of his obstacles in life, even achieving immortality. Because of this, in jealousy, he swore to kill off his brother one day. Every 100 moons that passed, the two brothers would meet up again for that raging fight, a warrior against a sorcerer. Because of this, the story behind the brother became a legend and was passed down from generation to generation. Those who walked the path of Napoleon was seeking for wisdom, selfless, passion, honesty, kind, and bravery. Those who walk under the path of Cupcake are seeking confidence, intelligence, proud, helpful, loyal, and grace. So,
But the thing is, though, that doesn't match up with Cupcake as he turned to black magic. Hello?
yeah, the last part, this last part, walking under Cupcake, seeking confidence, pride, helpful, loyal, and grace. Not very loyal, if you ask me. Extreme, like basically the opposite of loyal. I think they could have just took a page out of Harry Potter here and been like, "Hey, this is sort of like Slytherin house." And like, "Hey, if you follow
Sorry,
Cupcake,
but
you're these things instead."
you're basically a Slytherin. You're
Yeah,
a
that's
Slytherin.
essentially what it is. It's essentially a Gryffindor versus Slytherin thing. And maybe that's what they tried to do. Maybe they mixed up. Maybe they tied Ravenclaw and Gryffindor together to the wisdom and passion or whatever that Ravenclaw has, and then they mixed in Hufflepuff with Slytherin, and they got this weird contradiction. Actually, if you really think about it, because just that doesn't match. The loyal and grace and the helpful part just doesn't really match with what Cupcake did. Like, to me, that should be fixed a little bit. But yeah, if that is the lore and legend.
And finally, we had the information where that's like literally all the 7 types. And they give you actually a lot of good information. Like, they even have beautiful stained glass art of the species.
That is actually really beautiful. I like that. The way they did this. Okay, they have a scientific name, talking about different types and stuff like that. Then they start showing examples and height examples and everything else.
And also, the stained glasses
Yeah, all this stained
Uh,
glass. Like, look at
I
this.
can we just please can we just please talk to the person who literally made these stained glass?
There's so much work that goes into that.
And I want to say that
Fantastic.
I actually enjoy the species very much.
I actually do too.
I'm
I'm
not a
not gonna
part.
lie.
I'm not actually a part of them, but the work that they put into it, the love and effort that they put into it, the way that they're making the species come to life and creating their own world. Sure, it's a little wonky here and there, but overall, we covered a good species this time.
Yeah, they definitely did a very good job with the Pastelpengus. I'm honestly very surprised and impressed because I heard about the Pastelpengus a long time ago because they were on my list for a really long time, and I was like, okay, I'll get to it eventually. And when I get to it, I'm probably going to look at it. It's probably just going to be a penguin species, and that's going to be it. There's not going to be any lore or history. There's not going to be any facts about it. It's just literally just going to be a penguin, and that's going to be it. And I was,
we were
yeah,
proven wrong.
yeah, I was proven
We were
wrong there.
so wrong.
I was very wrong about that. I'm very impressed. They have very deep, rich
But
history and lore there. So, yeah.
But if you guys do want to check out the Pastelpengus and stuff like that, you can contact me on Danny's server, and I can see if I can get you an invite.
Yeah, we can
And
help you get into that.
and honestly, you guys should check it out for yourselves. The information, literally, if we did into the information, this would literally be just way too long, more than the usual species in-depth videos.
Yeah, I don't want to go through each individual type and explain all this detail right here, but I mean, looking at it, going to the Pastelpengu info and scrolling to the top, they literally have a scientific name for each individual type of their Pastelpengus, which is I find that amazing because that's just another level of them doing the tiniest little thing that makes it feel more real and everything else, and I just love that. That's so good.
And honestly, way to go, Oliver!
Yeah, way to go. I mean, they even have their height comparison here, which I like this.
Yep.
But I think what I want to do here now is talk a little bit about the design of the species and maybe close off with some closing thoughts after that. But I do want to say right off the bat, by looking at the art of these species, they seem to look very similar to each other. They seem to match with what you expect this species to be. They look really nice. I like them. They all look like they belong to the same species. But, and this is a big but, looking at their Ponytown forms, you have a normal Pastelpengu and then an aquatic Pastelpengu and a rage Pastelpengu. There's so many types, not only is it overwhelming, but you get to this point where they don't really look like they belong to the same species. And they are a variant of each other, but I don't know if that is enough to explain why they look so vastly different.
That is true, but I actually do love their designs, though, especially when you look at the stained glass ones.
That's what I mean by, like, when they're drawn and everything like that, they match up right. They look like a species. They look like each other, even though these are different types of their same species. It still matches up. They look like they belong to the same family, so to speak. Even though you have the aquatic in here and the rage and some of the other ones, they look like they match up. But when you go to Ponytown, they don't look like they match up. And this is the only. Yeah, go ahead.
This is why we say that Ponytown is very limiting.
It's very limiting when you're wanting to do something like this, because there's certain things that you have in what they look like on paper, so to speak. I mean, this is digital art, but you get what I mean. There's certain things about this that, like, okay, yeah, that's what they're supposed to look like, but it's hard to kind of replicate a lot of this in Ponytown. That's why I think it's best to always start on paper and move over to Ponytown later, or start with Ponytown and go from there. You can start either way, but I think it's probably a smarter option to start outside Ponytown and see if you can work your way in there. And if you can't fit it in Ponytown, that's fine. That's completely fine. You can always make another species for Ponytown, or you can keep your species outside of Ponytown. There's nothing wrong with that. But
Or Just do like start with Ponytown and then go out of it, and then just expand upon leaving Ponytown.
Exactly. That's a totally good way to do it as well. But I do want to say that this design is the weakest part of the species because they look so different from one another. And even just looking at a normal Pastelpengu, I can't tell what it's supposed to be. It kind of looks like a reindeer with wings almost, or like a almost like a griffin in a way, but with antlers. That's also happens to have pastel colors. I don't know. I don't know. It just doesn't necessarily feel like it looks the way it should look like. And I think they matched it as close as they could because obviously, we can't make it perfect in Ponytown. But yeah, uh, I think their tutorial looks fine too. It's a pretty standard tutorial as well. So at least we didn't have some random doc sheet that I was linking to. But the design, yes.
Okay, yeah. My final thoughts is love the designs that they have for the freaking stained glass
Yeah,
art. Like, I can't get over that. I cannot
I
get
know.
over that.
I kind of want to like save one of them.
I know, but
uh,
also another thing, I love the lore. I love the information that you get. I love that you have this universe where it does have the My Little Pony universe, the old My Little Pony universe, in fact, to where it's you have the humans as well.
yeah,
So not only do you have the humans, but you also have the ponies, and then you have these creatures right here.
yeah.
And you just basically have a little universe on your own. Which that is what I love the most for their lore.
It's
I mean, at first it's kind of confusing, but then you start to put the puzzle pieces together that this is a universe that
yeah.
has the humans, ponies together, like in the old My Little Pony universe.
It's so well put together. I mean, it honestly is. I'm honestly impressed. The only my only other issue with this species, and it's more to the scale of it, is when I first joined this Discord, I was so overwhelmed. There's literally so many different types of species, like of their species. Like there's so many different types. You got aquatic, music, velociraptor, fairy, steampunk, female peacock, and celestial, and crystal, and baby, and there's so many types here that's very, very overwhelming to someone that you're trying to get into your species. So you advertise your species in Ponytown or something like that, which a lot of people do. You say, oh, we look like this, and you show off your species or whatever like that. You may say something like, oh, we have other types of it and everything like that. But they might get into your Discord and see that there's like 10 different types and be so overwhelmed, not sure where to start, not sure like which type they should choose and anything like that. And then you get someone that ends up a ghost in your Discord server. That feels like what happened. I don't know if that's actually happened, and I can't say it will happen. But for me, that's what it feels like. Like I feel very overwhelmed by this. It makes me, very skeptical. Like, okay, do I need to do this one? Do I need to do all of them? I don't want to do all of them.
For me, I think that you should probably like have a. This is just a suggestion to Oliver and their team.
Mm.
Maybe have like a quiz or whatever to take and see where you belong. Like the Harry Potter fandom has the official house sorting system. Where you take a quiz and you see what is your official house.
That is a very good idea. That is actually an extremely good idea, and it's very, very easy to do that. You can actually go to Playbuzz, I think it's called. You can make your own quizzes on Playbuzz, and
or you can actually go to the official website, and there's the official quiz that you can take.
Is there a website for Pastelpengus?
Oh no, not Pastelpengus. No, I was talking about the Harry Potter thing.
Oh no, I'm
just to say that that actually exists.
Yeah, no, I'm just talking about like if the Pastelpengus wanted to create their own quiz, they can go through Playbuzz. It's completely free to do. All you have to do is sign up with your email, and you can create your own quizzes. I have a few quizzes that I've made on there before. I've made tutorials on how to do it before. I think they're both outdated now, but you can create quizzes there, and you can get as many results as you want and ask as many questions as you want, and assign, okay, they answered this, so that leads closer to this. I can't explain all of it here, but essentially, if you wanted to do a quiz, it's very easy to do that. And I think it would be a lot of fun, actually, if a species like this that had so many types were to create like a quiz or something like that, because that would be a fun way to like get people to join. Because like, oh, you can take a quiz and do whatever, or you can just skip the quiz and choose. I think that might make it a little bit more fun, and I think it would fit in well. All you have to do is leave a link in somewhere maybe in server stats, or not server stats, but somewhere in important info or something. Just throw it in there and have it linked, and there you go. You can have a quiz. I think that would be fun. That would actually help with the overwhelmingness of it, because if I found a quiz, I'd be like, okay, I can do this, and then I'll be able to choose better. I can choose easier now. But yeah, I mean,
And
yeah.
yeah, that is all I have to say. Besides, the species is actually very good, and I actually have my brain cells this time.
Yeah, this was it. This was so much fun. I can't believe it. But yeah, I think we're both done here.
Have we finally released the curse? Have we finally released the curse of horrible species?
Have we broken the curse? Have we broken
Please
the curse?
tell me we have broken the curse.
Yeah, I think this was definitely better than the last like 3 or 4 we've done. So I'm very pleased that it wasn't just, oh, we're penguins that happen to have pastel colors, and I'm very pleased that there was some very good lore and history in there, and very familiar lore. I don't know where this was told to me before, because I haven't been in this Discord server at all, but I know this entire legend. I know this entire legend section. Someone told it to me one time, and that made me feel good. That I don't know why. Anyways, that's going to do it for the video. I do hope that you enjoyed, and if you did, please do like, subscribe, share, and do all those wonderful things, because when you do those wonderful things, you get access to wonderful content such as this.
But that's not all you get. That's not all you get. You also get to become wonderful yourself, and I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and then, until next time,
Stay wonderful.
stay wonderful.